So glad you are back with us on the Allon Exchange. Brad Johansson with Jay and Brittany Hagy, Allon Planning Partners, and it's so good to be back with you guys. How are we?
We're doing wonderful, Brad. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm confused.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I mean, usually I'm in that mode of confusion. How do we
not.
figure this out? Look, we came from 2025, where it felt, and I've said this before, it felt like about every 6 minutes something was going to change
right,
financially, because a tweet from the top or something that's said can change everywhere. And I think for a lot of you in 2025, there was a worry. Is this all going to change? And we move into 2026, and there's still a lot of instability. But we have recency bias. Our market has gone good.
Mm-hmm. Everything's great.
Everything's great. And yet, planning for the what if. So I want to talk today about what we call the domino effect, how everything that we do can change everything else. And I think that was 2025's feeling, is where are we going to go? Tell me about the domino effect and how you guys look at this financially.
Well, the reason that we talk about multiple pieces of the financial puzzle is we know they all interlink and they all connect. So this domino effect is, you may have an incredible investment strategy, but if you have no idea how you're going to create income from your investments, then that's a domino out of place, right? You may have a great investment and income strategy, but you forgot and left out taxes, okay? So the tax man comes and he's going to take way more than his fair share. That's another area where a domino effect can happen. So it's about how every piece of your plan, and we're going to talk through this show of all 5 of these pieces and how they're interconnected, but it's about how every piece of the plan really lines up to be in perfect alignment with each other, so that one of those dominoes falling down doesn't just destroy every other domino in your plan.
Yeah.
And so that's what we want to talk about today.
I mean, even things like savings. You could do really great saving for retirement, but then you don't have an income plan.
Right.
You don't know how you're going to take distributions from those accounts. Or maybe you have really great savings, but you haven't planned for taxes. Oh yeah, remember that some of those 401ks and IRAs aren't yours. Like, the taxes have to be paid on those. So when you're looking at the savings, the full amount in your 401k is not all yours to live on the rest of your life. So those are just a few examples of how they really do interconnect. And so what we do is we take these 5 pieces, these 5 components of comprehensive planning. And what we want to do today throughout the show is really break down these 5. Why do they matter? Why do I even need to be thinking about these things? And how do they impact the other components of my plan? That's what we want to talk
Because
through.
a lot of times people think, I have a 401k, I have an investment, I have a plan, right? I'm saving with my work company.
Isn't that most people?
Most of us, because that's what we're taught,
Yes.
right? That's all we're taught.
Yes.
All we're taught is, hey,
Save,
if you save and put away in your 401k, and, you know, maybe put a little bit more back under the mattress in a rainy day fund, you're probably okay. But I'm here to tell you today, there are things that we all need to be further educated on, so that we don't have a domino effect, so that the savings that you do have get eroded by something you haven't planned for. And that's what we're trying to do, is take away the unknowns.
I have a note that you've put into my head, that it's the PPP. A written and comprehensive financial plan gives you purpose, protection, and perspective.
Yeah.
That's right.
Why? I mean, is there a simplified version of having this, when you say all 5 things, when we put this together, how does that give us all of these things?
Well, I'm going to give you a 4th one, and that's peace. So it's 4 P's, right?
And then there's an amen after that. Yeah.
It gives you all those things, because, you know, I'm smart enough to know there are some things I don't know. Right? I know that.
Which is the best wisdom.
Yeah. I know that if I'm going to be doing any kind of work that includes plumbing or electrical in my house, I'm not doing it myself. Right? I don't know things about electrical systems in my house and how the wires interact, so that I do not burn it down. Right? And so if you let someone else come in and coach you and give you better perspective on how to wire that house, it's going to give you peace that you need, that I can go to sleep at night and know when I turn the light switch on and off, it's going to work, right? That's what we do with each component of this financial plan. We take deep dives because this is what we do every day, all day. When folks come into our office, we're walking them through the allocation strategies in their investments. We're walking them through, how do I create everlasting income basically throughout my portfolio so that I don't run out of money, right? An income plan. Then we're taking and making sure that you're not paying more than your fair share of taxes and that you have a health care plan and an estate plan. We're going to talk about each one of these in a little bit more detail, but it does actually give you purpose, protection, and perspective because there are things you do not know. And if I am giving you more perspective and purpose on the things that you do not know to cover your basis, you don't have to worry about one domino taking out all of the rest.
Well, and kind of to that point, though, speaking to the purpose, that second P I think you mentioned, I mean, that we build plans around your purposes. That is where we begin. What are your goals? What do you envision? And we don't just start and stop with, you got to save more. You got to put that away in your 401k. It is so much more than that. We want to help you really clarify and narrow down, what is it that I'm really going for here? And why am I working towards those things? Really helping you align what you envision for your future and your dollars, right? Making sure that they're working in the same direction. And sometimes that takes some honing, right? Because we just have this big, well, I just want to save for retirement. Okay, let's break it down from there. What are some other purposes? What are you wanting to do with your money? You wanting to pass on to your kids? Are you wanting to support charities or nonprofit organizations? Are you wanting to travel? Are you wanting to start a second career and maybe start your own business? There's a myriad of options you could have, but beginning with that purpose and building out from there really provides the why behind what you're doing to begin with that really helps you keep along the way.
So before we break and before we go to, I know we have a break here coming up soon, I want to just list the 5 that we walk through. And then we can break those down after break, but we want to look at investment management. That's very important because it's just like I'm saving in my 401k, my IRA, my Roth. You are taught to do that, and you're doing a great job if you are doing that, right? Investment management and allocation strategies, meaning how are my funds positioned? Income planning. You have to have an income plan so that you don't run out of money in those investment accounts. Tax planning. That's the third one. To make sure that your investments are aligned in a way to where you're not giving away tax dollars to Uncle Sam, but you're keeping them in your pocket. The fourth is a healthcare plan, because one of the biggest expenses in retirement is going to be healthcare costs.
Undoubtedly.
And then it's an estate plan, because if I am disabled or no longer here, how is my wife and my kids and family and the people that I love protected once I am no longer able to make these decisions, right? All 5 of those have to be covered, and that's what we want to walk through today.
I want to go back to what Brittany said, because it is all about purpose. And then to take you back to what Jay said in the beginning of this is what we were told to do. You have been in a mode for decades of wealth accumulation. That's what you were supposed to do. And now you said, you're saying things that my advisor has never said before because we've never talked about purpose. Well, the purpose now, as you are moving into the distribution phase, is very different, which is why you need a specialist. What's the purpose for your money? You need to tell your money what to do. And that's what we're going to walk you through in this half hour. And then you're going to say, you know what? I could use a second opinion. Call the number on your screen. This gives you a complimentary written financial plan. And wouldn't you like a second opinion to determine the purpose of what your retirement is going to look like? Make the call now. Do something for yourself. Scan the QR code so that we can help you with your purpose. We'll be right back.
Well, about almost 10 years ago now, Brittany and I came to the realization that the position that we were in, we wanted to expand what we were doing. We were in full-time ministry. And so I realized as I was counseling people a lot, it had a lot to do with finance.
Because finances are a touchy subject. It can be challenging, and that's what we want to do, help people prepare for those unexpecteds.
I had a friend at the time who was in the industry and ran an RIA and decided to take a sneak peek into what he was doing, and really, man, loved the model of being able to be independent and fiduciary in our advice and the way that we help people.
And when we decided to begin our own independent firm, we knew there's a better way. There's just a better way to do this. It's beyond transactional interaction. It's this relational component that we knew we want to have. And I believe that each individual and family has to find the right fit for them.
And I think most people that walk in here are looking for that unique touch. Like, independently, how can we help your family succeed?
So glad you're with us on the Allon Exchange. Brad Johansson, Jane, Brittany Hagy, Allon Planning Partners. And I want to put up the Allon quiz right now because we do this all the time, trying to make it easier for you. I don't understand whether or not I'm ready. Okay, let's take a quiz. What are the questions I need to know? What should I be planning for? If everybody told me I'm doing the right thing, but I'm not, wouldn't I want to know? AllonQuiz.com. Scan the QR code. You can go to the website, and it is user-friendly, really simple to take you through how ready am I to do this. We're talking about the domino effect, and you guys are talking about the 5 things that you want to break down. I want to spend this segment on breaking each one down. Guys, begin with the first one, and where do we need to start? Because for a lot of us, it's just, how am I supposed to start this? Get me going. What's my first thing?
Right. Well, how do we get started is what we're already doing. Hopefully we're saving something, right? And if you're already saving something, whether that's a 401k, an IRA, a 403b, a TSP, whatever it may be, all the alphabet soup that I can name here, we are going to say, are you allocated correctly for where you're at? So if you are near or in retirement, we want to make sure that you have an appropriate risk tolerance, right? We want to make sure that you understand that just because I have an account, just because I am saving, it doesn't mean I have a strategy, right? It doesn't mean that I understand how long this money's going to last me. So we need to make sure that we take a look under the hood, and we do that. We give a complimentary consultation to where we break down every asset that you're actually invested in right now and say good, bad, or ugly, and here's how we would position it for someone who's in your position right now, who we have obviously gathered a little bit more information from you at that point to say you should be positioned in this way, right, to hit your financial goals that you have. So the first one is really just investment management, having the appropriate risk tolerance, having the appropriate allocation strategy so that you can make sure that your money's working correctly, that it's not taking unnecessary risk, or it's not taking too little risk and not growing enough. You need to make sure that you have an investment strategy that is appropriate and aligned with your risk tolerance, and that's where we start.
And this is where most financial advisors start, but this is also where most financial advisors end. They don't continue through these other steps that we're going to hit through. But that's the whole point of today's conversation, is that it is so much more than just your investments. Yes, it absolutely matters how you're allocated, how you're invested, where your dollars are and how they're working for you. You better believe, yes, that matters. And on top of that, taxes matter, healthcare matters, estate planning matters, how you're going to derive your income, having a plan for that. All of those things matter as well. So when it comes to investments, you can have really great investments, but without tax planning, you're going to find yourself in a position where you're paying unnecessary taxes. That's not what you want.
You guys talk about the risk tolerance, and then there's risk capacity as well. And for a lot of people, where they are mentally and emotionally with their money, does their feeling about what they could lose, what their capacity is, actually, as you say, align with their investment strategy, and that's extremely important. Go to number 2, which is the income planning after that.
So how you take those distributions matter, right? And so a lot of folks, like Brittany said, they stop and start and stop on investment management. Like, hey, if I'm allocated correctly and I can set in the market and I know I'm putting away, that's fine. But here's where income planning really comes in. How do I know that I'm not going to run out of money? How do I know that I can live to 95 and not run out of money? You have to have an income strategy that takes a lot of different aspects of your life. We start from the end in mind and work our way backwards. We reverse engineer it. So we want to start with, how much money do you have to have every month in order to survive? Then we add inflation onto those numbers from 3 to 6%, because that's what ranges we've been in the last decade. And so we have to make sure that your income plan is appropriate. That way you don't get to 80 and say, whoops, I ran out of money.
Yeah.
Right? But that you have money to continue because you've put a plan in place for your allocation strategy. See the domino here? That you put your money in the right places so that you do not run out of income later in retirement. That's the domino effect.
Guys, I want to get to all of these, but I want to make sure that you hear exactly what we need to say. AllonQuiz.com is where you need to go. We got to take a quick break. You can do this right now. We'll be back and finish this list right after this.
Are you actually ready for retirement or just hoping everything works out?
At Allon Planning Partners, we've created a quick and powerful retirement readiness quiz to help you find out. It takes just a few minutes and you'll get a personalized score showing how prepared you are in key areas like income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and legacy planning.
It's free, it's simple, and it could give you the clarity and confidence that you've been missing. Don't leave your future to chance.
Take the quiz today at allonquiz.com and get a clear picture of where you stand and where you need to go.
Are you retirement ready?
In the mountains of Guatemala, women are fighting for a better future, for themselves, for their children, and for their communities. At dareformore.org, every purchase has a purpose. From handcrafted jewelry, wallets, and vibrant bags to premium coffee, every item tells a story and changes a life. Your support provides education, safe shelter, and business opportunities for women escaping poverty and violence. Together, we're helping them rewrite their story from survival to success. Shop with purpose. Change a life. Visit dareformore.org today and be part of a movement that empowers women and gives hope to the next generation.
So glad you're with us on the Allon Exchange. Brad Johansson along with Jane Brittany Hagy, Allon Planning Partners. We had allonquiz.com up. I'm going to leave that up because I think it's important for you to be able to access. Scan the QR code, go to the website. It is in preparation because we're talking domino effect. One falls upon the other, and it's putting the plan together. And if you're missing one or creating a domino effect because you don't have the right things in place, it could be a problem. We've talked about the 5 things, and we've gotten through investment strategy and income planning. We know medical, and we'll get there as well. But before that, the first hurdle as we move forward probably is tax planning, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Well, if you're not planning for taxes, that's a surefire way to run out of money sooner. If that's the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money too soon.
Yeah.
If you are overpaying in taxes, the money you do have is going to run out quicker, because you're just throwing it out the window in unnecessary tax.
And without a realization that it's not all your number.
Absolutely. And it's the old adage, it's not what you make, it's what you keep, right?
Yeah.
And that's the truth. It's not about how well my investments are doing if I only own 70% of those investments to begin with, right? And so, or less than that, if taxes continue to rise, which we all think taxes will continue to rise. So just like I talked about, allocation strategy affects how long my money lasts in the domino. It also matters if a portion of that money or not gets to stay in my bucket at all, just because Uncle Sam says it's mine. And a 401k, a tax-deferred dollars like in your IRAs, your TSPs, 457 accounts, they are all tax-deferred accounts for the most part, and you do not own some of that money. And so if you don't plan for it in things like Roth conversions, so we may do a Roth ladder strategy to where over a 10-year period, we're putting smaller portions of money from tax-deferred accounts over to tax-free accounts, which are Roths. We can do that in a way that minimizes your tax burden now, because we know the tax strategy now is low. We don't know the tax strategy 20 years from now may or may not be low. we want to get you to tax-free buckets sooner, so that way you don't have to worry about that part of the equation.
Well, I mean, that's crucial as to what you're saying now, because for many people, they're talking to their advisors. And I know you have people coming in who already have, I have an advisor. What did they talk to you about? Taxes. Well, they said, I don't need to worry about that yet.
Yeah.
That's down the road. That's 10 years down the road before I have to really worry about my required minimum distributions. What you're saying now is if we have a 10-year runway before that, it's the exact opposite of what you need to be doing in the domino effect.
Use the runway.
Use the runway.
Pilot, if you don't use it's not gonna go well. You're gonna crash and burn. Use the runway and actually plan. There's a difference between tax paying and tax planning. Don't just be a taxpayer. Be a tax planner so that you can actually minimize what you're paying.
Yeah, because I had a gentleman come in just last year that started his RMD for the first year. And he said, Jay, why am I paying so much taxes? He was not a client before, he is now.
Yeah.
But he came into the office and said, why am I paying so much in taxes? I'm 73 years old. I've never had this kind of a tax bill before. Why? I said, because you did not use your runway. Someone didn't at 60 start tax planning with you to where you're now at this ticking tax time bomb age, and the government has handcuffed you to how much taxes you have to pay. And so unfortunately, his situation was very limited to what we can do. But the majority of our clients, the sooner you can start tax planning, the better. And as soon as you come in, we're not just going to look at your investments alone, not just your income and the potential for income alone. We're going to say, how do we save you money on your taxes so that Uncle Sam's not robbing you out of your back pocket?
All right, we got to 3 dominoes: investment strategy, income planning. We're at tax planning. Number 4 ends up being that next big hurdle. And if we're using big numbers, it's more than 7 out of 10 of us who hit that age of 65 are going to need something long-term. That's a big number. That's a huge domino for us.
That's a lot of us.
Yeah.
That's a lot of us that are going to need that help. That help costs big dollars. So how are we going to pay for that? You get to choose how you pay for that. So you've got the long-term care piece. That's the first kind of piece of this healthcare puzzle, right? And then you've also got the health insurance, like the Medicare piece, right? Because we all know at 65, you can file for Medicare, and you've got some options, and you file for Medicare. But a common mistake is that folks think that Medicare will just cover everything. Well, Medicare will cover my long-term care, right? That's part of the plan. That's just how that works, isn't it? Well, unfortunately, it does not. It is limited in what it offers and what it covers. You get to choose your coverage, working with a Medicare specialist, ensuring, like we've got in our office, we've got a Medicare specialist who walks our clients through, here are your options, and here's how you prepare for that. So the long-term care coverage, ensuring that you're covered, especially for women, because there's a much higher percentage due to longevity that we will need that type of care than our male counterparts. So that's a much higher concern for us. And then, of course, making sure you're covered on the insurance side as well.
Ignoring healthcare planning, like Brittany's talking about, is the fastest way to break an otherwise solid plan. So you could have a solid plan. I've got my allocation strategies. I know exactly what the market's going to do to me and going to give to me and take away, right? I know exactly how much income I need to take out of it to make sure I never run out of money. I even have saved money on taxes because I've got tax-free buckets now. If you have not covered this healthcare cost and this healthcare piece, it is the fastest way to kill all 3 of those. The median average, I think, nursing home stay right now is about $110,000 to $120,000 a year.
$10,000 a month.
And so that will wreck a financial plan that's solid, because if I've based all of these 3 things on I need $10,000 a month, and then I have a healthcare need that all of a sudden it's $10,000 a month, well, that's double your income that you need. You will run out of money. So we have to cover health care. And it's okay that you haven't to this point if you feel and find yourself in that position. That's why we talk about these dominoes, so that we don't get to the place to where we run out of options in our plan, but we can prepare for them before we get there.
As independent advisors, you now have access to tools that help in planning.
Yes, we do.
With the medical to say, what if? Well, it used to be long-term care used to be the only thing that you could use, and it was use it or lose it.
Right.
The tool shed is full of
That's exactly right.
Of things that you can now use to say, what if, and if it doesn't, it's still my money?
That's exactly
Yeah.
how it works. We have tools in the tool shed now that say, I don't have to just pay a big long-term care insurance premium, and if I use it for long-term care, great. And if I pass away before I use it, I lose all those premium dollars, right? We can now take another insurance product that if you do not utilize those dollars for long-term care or in-home health or something like that, they are advanced to you as a death benefit afterwards. So it stays in your estate bucket. I don't have to lose those dollars. There are other options in the tool shed that we have today that we can get you there.
All right, I got to get you to number 5. We're running out of time. Estate
Okay.
planning. Why is this the final domino?
This is extremely important, not just when you pass away and all your assets go to your heirs, but also while you are still living. This is a piece of the puzzle that most people, again, put on the back burner or think it's not as necessary. Things like power of attorneys for financial, powers of attorney for healthcare, those types of documents that will actually ensure that while you are still living, how you want your money to be utilized will actually occur. Assigning someone to make those decisions on your behalf if you cannot do it yourself. And then, of course, when you're passing on your assets to your heirs, ensuring that's done in a tax-efficient manner. Ensuring that your kids or your heirs or charitable organizations, whoever it is that you're passing those things on to, that they actually receive those things in a way that is a blessing, not a burden. And that's where it kind of, estate planning bleeds into tax planning. Are you passing things on in a tax favorable manner, right? Looking at all of those things. So the core concept of today, as we kind of wrap up the show, all these 5 components: investment management, income planning, tax planning, healthcare, and estate planning, all 5 of those have to work together. And well, they do work together, whether you have them or not.
That's right.
They are working either for you or against you. And if you find that you're missing any one of those components, let's sit down and have a conversation around how to build something a bit more robust, a bit more comprehensive, that ensures that your bases are covered when life comes at you.
Let's put the dominoes in place. Do you have a plan that you know it's going to last? Now is when you want to make the call. Call the number on your screen, scan the QR code. Maybe it's a quick call for you. Maybe it's a time for you to come in for a second opinion so that you say, you know what, I'd really like to make sure this is going to work. It's what Jay and Brittany do every single day. It's the perspective you've been looking for, the second opinion that you've always wanted. You've waited long enough. Make the call. Do this for yourself. Your time's important. We can't wait to see you in the office, spend some time with you. Thanks for spending time today. We'll be right back here next time.